Hello there, fellow viewers. This is another country review I am making this year. I'm starting to like this, and I wish I had a legit cowboy hat. Someone send me a link to where I should find a good cowboy hat. Like, I'm not going to wear it that often, but come on. I mean, guys gotta have it for these reviews, right? Tullahoma is the fourth studio album released by Dustin Lynch. This album came out with a couple of other albums I am hoping to get to. And I almost wasn't going to review this, but there's something about some of the country albums that are coming out that is just drawing me into them. And so I feel like I have to talk about them. And I'm glad I gave this one a chance. This one definitely has some moments that I feel like I would like to talk with you about. So the first thing that I want to say about this album and this artist is that I feel like I may be able to catch on to what his voice sounds like after this experience. Maybe I need to listen to it a little bit more, I'm not sure, but perhaps I might be able to recognize it. Again, if you are a constant viewer of mine, you know that country is just kind of there for me, but despite that, I'm listening to more and more. But despite that fact, I've always liked a few particular artists, and I've been able to identify what their voices are if it ever comes up that I'm hearing a new song or an old song I didn't know about. Some examples of that would probably be Dolly Parton, Keith Urban, Dixie Chicks, Lady Antebellum, now Casey Musgraves, probably Alan Jackson also, actually. I haven't listened to a lot of him, but he's got a song that I really turn to. The point that I'm trying to make is I like Dustin Lynch's voice in this album. I don't think I've listened to really anything of his before this album, but I'm going to consider listening to more because I like this album overall. The first time I listened to it, I thought, oh, I'm in for a big surprise here. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. And then I listened to it for the second time, and I was still enjoying it, but I did pump the brakes a little bit because I was analyzing a couple of things that I thought, that could be better, but that doesn't mean that it was bad. This album vocally is really great. Lyrically, it's not bad. There's more songs in here that have what I call C2C moments, but it's not so bad that it's offensive. It's just, he tosses a couple of things in here that I wish he wouldn't, but you know, that's life. And then as the album comes to a close, I kind of wish that it would try to push its creative juices a little bit more. Let's start talking in depth about the songs. The very first song, I think he did a great job because it hooked me in immediately. It's called Mama's House. Other people who are country music fans probably will think this may be a basic song. I'm not sure about that, but I think it drives people to want to listen to more. That's my experience with it. And yes, this is one of those C2C songs, but thankfully it's not that bad. The song that I think is probably the most country of them all that I do really think is good is Old Country Songs. Yes, that's actually the title of the song. But the song that I think that I may turn most to, or maybe other younger listeners might turn most to, is this one song called Thinkin' 'Bout You. He has a featured artist named Lauren Elena in here, and they have this kind of duet that kind of feels like it was inspired by the Chainsmokers' Closer song. And I'm trying to figure out, was that really the inspiration? Because there's so many elements of it that make me think exactly like that. But not in a sense that it feels like it's a ripoff or it's trying to copy the success of that song, because for heaven's sakes, that song was popular when it came out. But yeah, overall, those songs really get me. And I think overall, Dustin is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's doing his job. The few knocks that I have on this album, The song Country Star, it sounds nice, but it loses vigor eventually. The song Working on You, that's the song that I felt like was probably the most generic of all country songs. The song Red Dirt Blue Eyes, this song I think I could have liked, but I was a little put off at the beginning, and I am thinking it was an accident. I don't know that. But the beginning of the production, it has this bass, this weird sounding thing at the beginning of the song that I don't think ever comes up again unless there was something wrong with my audio. It just is there for this random second at the beginning of the first verse, and I'm just thinking, what was that all about? It was weird. And the song Good Girl, this is not a bad song, but it does feel purposely made to try to be mainstream. And I kind of just felt like that's a little too obvious. But beyond that, I think there's plenty of songs in here for country music lovers and people who casually listen to country music or just other genres in general that I think that they'll grasp onto. I think there's a song in here for mostly everyone, and probably more than that. And perhaps maybe Dustin Lynch's voice isn't the most magnetic of all the country voices out there, but I don't think anyone is going to dispute that it doesn't sound good. I think it's a very mature kind of country vocal. In that regard, I think it has plenty of opportunity to appeal to all kinds of listeners. But anyway, guys, after having listened and reviewed this album with production of 89%, creativity 84%, expression and lyrics 84%, I'm going to give this album a good. You may like it more than that grade is going to suggest, and I thought I was also, but I do have to put in that little analysis, and I think it's still good. It's still worth recommending, but I know that there's other country albums out there that I could possibly love more. But at the same time, I like that I experienced this because I think it's a vocal that I want to come back to and maybe go back to the old albums too, because I don't remember if I've ever heard his vocals before. I'm not sure, but you know, you get my point now, okay? Let's wrap this up. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe, like, follow, comment, all those good things down below so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.